have looked into my eyes. You have seen what I am, but still you're by my side, telling me I can't. And there are times of cause to thank, and times I made mistakes. Somehow you use them all to make the eye you made. Oh, every good thing I have done, everything that I've become, everything.
Welcome to All About Us Teen Talk TV. I am your host, Shavonna Johnson, setting in for our new host, actress model Vanessa Lake. I want to thank you for joining us today. Today we have a very important topic that we're going to be discussing with our guest, Ms. Verdel Jones, the college application process. We at All About Us have teamed up with Brain Safari on a contest, and we want you to take the time to go to and sign up for the contest. We are giving away 100 versions of Brainware Safari. 100 of these programs will be given away to winners who have signed up and will be drawn randomly. You can sign up at http://goo.gl/H1AKW. You can also go to AAUYM.com to get more information. We want to thank Brainware Safari for being one of our sponsors as well. And we also just want to take a minute to thank our sponsors, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. They are the CEO and CFO of the Whitney E. Johnson Foundation. It is a 501(c) organization. They provide mentoring, tutoring, and counseling to youth. They are also the executive producers of All About Us Teen Talk TV and radio. You can also get a new version of our magazine if you go to AAUYM, All About Us Youth Magazine, the winter 2015. Today, we just want you to be encouraged. And we want to just say, be grateful for all the obstacles in your life. They have strengthened you as you continue through with your journey. Everything that has made you, and that every obstacle that you are facing, always know that approach it with faith and hope and with a goal, and know that you will be able to cross that hurdle and to overtake that obstacle to get to your accomplishment. And always know and find your strength in your weaknesses. Always turn your weaknesses into strength, and find that faith to keep pushing forward, so that no matter what, as you go along your journey, you will meet your destiny. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back after these commercials.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Do dogs chase cats?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance?
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live At private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more, Act One will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to act1entertainment.net for a free no-obligation price quote or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy.
Welcome back to All About Us Teen Talk TV, and today we are going to be speaking with Ms. Verdel Jones, and we're going to be talking about the college application process. Ms. Jones has over 20 years experience in education as a teacher, counselor, and administrator, and currently she is the district level administrator for Plain Ridge School District in Massapequa, New York. We want to thank you for joining us today, Ms. Verdel Jones. So why don't you just give us a little bit more information about yourself, and then we'll go into our conversation.
Sure. Thank you. Again, my name is Verdel Jones, Director of Guidance for Plain Ridge Schools. As you shared, I do have 20 years experience as a business teacher, a counselor, and now I'm currently an administrator. And one of the things that I think is so important that students should know and is information about the college application process. There's so much information out there, so what I hope to do today is kind of answer some questions you might have about the college application process, what you need to be doing now, what steps you need to take to do your research. I think research is very important when it comes to this process. And just a little bit more about myself. Besides my education, I'm a mother of two. I have two lovely children, a 22-year-old and also an 18-year-old. So I've been through the college application process, not only professionally, but also personally. So as a result, I've been able to visit several colleges, hundreds of colleges throughout the years. So I can speak to what students should look to on a college campus. And I've also been married for 26 years. So that's just a little bit more about myself.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us today. And, I'm quite sure when you were going through the process with your children, so much has changed within, 3-4 years? It's like yesterday you just put them in college, and now you just have to try to catch up with all the regulations that are changing, especially with the college process application and FAFSA and all of that's a whole nother program.
Right.
But it's just amazing. And what I didn't know, before we get into our conversation, is now they have changed it so that those who are finishing college, the last 6 credits, you now have to pay for them. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, maybe it's something different, because
Okay.
I have a friend that's going back to school to finish her college degree, and she was telling me now that she has to pay, for her last 3 credits.
Okay.
She has to pay for that out of their pocket, because what is going on was a lot of people are getting refunds, and they're taking that money and using it for other things than what they're supposed to be using it for. So to cut back, what they're doing is they're making them pay for the last 3 credits of their college education. And I was just blown away when I heard that. But I could see, why they would take that rational step.
Right.
But to get into the college application process, I just have this one question that I've been, since the last time we spoke.
Right.
What is the earliest really parents should start, their children talking about the application process itself, other than 9th grade, 8th grade? What do you think the earliest should be to start really talking about this process?
I think having a mindset for students. In other words, college, if that's an aspiration, should be talked about throughout, school. So a student has something to aspire to. As far as the applications themselves and where do you want to apply, I think that process can start as early as 10th grade and into 11th grade. That's when you're going to do a lot of your heavy research. Before that, I think it's more so just kind of having that idea that college is something that you can actually attain, that you can actually go to school. So I think that in the earlier grades, when we're talking middle school, I had shared with you before, it's a good idea to have students just go to a college campus just to see what it looks like. Even if it's going to a football game or a basketball game or just getting on the campus just to see what that atmosphere is like, so a student can have a vision of how they might see themselves one day at a particular college. So I think it's important for parents to kind of encourage that mindset with students by having them being exposed to a college campus at an early age. But the actual heavy-duty research as far as, filling out applications and looking at schools and, to decide where you want to go, I think you can start that in your your sophomore year, your junior year. That's when you really have to do, I think, a lot of that research to lay down, where you want to go, where you want, what applications you actually want to send out.
Shay and Iki, have you all started the process yet?
Yeah.
Have you started researching?
Yeah.
Okay, so you pretty much set where you want to go.
Yeah, mentally, but it changes all the time.
Okay, I forgot. Where did you want to go again?
I like the college.
Mhm.
I want to go to York College in Pennsylvania
And what was your
and
major?
study business.
Business administration. Okay, York College. What is the college in Philadelphia that has the MBA master's program?
Oh, well, several do. It just depends.
Penn State
What's,
is
Penn State.
mostly
Okay.
popular for its sports and such.
Okay, there's a popular one for the master's program. I'm trying to think of the name of the school. I couldn't remember what it was because I was going to refer her to it so that
Okay.
she could go research it.
Right.
So anyway, you want to go to York College and
Yeah.
do business. What do you want to do with that degree when you're done?
I want to start a small business, maybe a technician business.
What intrigues you about business? Just curious.
My mom, she owns a business, so
Oh,
I
okay.
grew up around it.
Okay. All right. And you, Miss Shay?
Well, I was thinking about going to Old Westbury, but I'm not too positive
Okay.
because I still have a couple more years to go.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to be a special ed teacher.
Okay. All right. I was just had to ask that question. Just throw it in there while I was there. So.
May I ask
Yes.
a question? I'm just curious. What drew you to York College? What makes you think that might be a school you want to attend?
We went on a trip through this program called Leaders of the Future.
Nice.
And we were on a trip with Pennsylvania with Shay, and we went to several colleges, and I found York so attractive. All the credentials that I wanted were in that school, and it just intrigued me completely.
Nice. And what about Old Westbury for you?
I looked at a lot of colleges, but I've actually been to Westbury several times because my sister goes there.
Okay.
So it intrigues me.
Right. And that's one of the points that I think is so important. Once a student gets on that campus, they can see what that campus is like, and then their decision about where they want to go is more significant because you've really done the research and you've seeked out what's going on at that school. So I commend you guys for going to visit those schools. That's excellent. Excellent. That's what we like to see.
Thank you.
I had posed this to Miss Jones when I spoke to her on our radio show, and I had asked her, is it possible that you could go spend a week or a weekend at the college just for a week to see what college life would be like? Have you thought or explored that idea?
Yeah, on the trip we got to stay in dorms, and we were going from school to school, getting the tours. It wasn't college life, but it was as close as we could get.
Okay. No, what I was saying is to go back to that school on your own to see if you could stay for a week and just to see itself what that experience would be like.
That'd be cool.
That would be
That would
cool.
be-
Yeah.
Some schools do offer programs like that. Not necessarily for a whole week, but they do have a couple of days where you can stay on campus and you might be able to stay with a student as well. So you can stay in the dorms, you can go with the students to class, and you really get an immersion into that school. So a lot of schools do have that kind of program. You just have to contact the admissions department for those schools you might be interested in and see if they have those particular programs.
What are some of the processes that, when they do start the process, especially now in the 11th grade, say in the 11th grade, what is the starting point? I know that sounds like a crazy question, but for some parents, they're probably like, how can I start now? What can I start doing to, shorten the process when it actually comes to senior year?
11th grade is a busy year. as a lot of students know. There are a lot of things that happen in 11th grade. You want to make sure that your academics are up to par, because that's really, you're going to get your senior year counts as far as your academics, but your 11th grade year is really that last full year where you can show colleges that academically you can handle the rigors of college. So there's a lot of things going on, but one of the things that I would tell 11th grade students and parents is you have to start the research, and that's what you can't stress that enough, the research. So what do I mean by research? Like you young ladies have done, you visited the school, that's part of the research. You know what programs they offer at the school, you take a look at the curriculum to see if a particular college you're interested in has what you want to study and what the actual classes are. So you start with that, and there's a couple of criteria that you also want to take a look at. You want to look at the size of a school, like what type of school do you want? Do you want to go to a large school? Do you want to go to a small school? Do you want to go to a school that's in the suburbs, or do you want to go to a school that's in the city? Do you want a school that's far from you or close to you? So those are the kind of things that you need to take a look at, and I think that's the first step to kind of narrow down your search, because there's thousands of colleges that you can actually attend. So you have to figure out which college, will be suitable for you, and that's some of the criteria you need to take a look at. So I think the first step is really narrowing down your search and figuring out, with the criteria that I was mentioning, what kind of fits your needs, and then you take it from there. And once you narrow that search down to, maybe 10 or 12 colleges that you might be interested in, then you could think about visiting. Now, you might not be able to visit all those schools, but you might be able to visit maybe your top 5 schools, maybe. Or you can start local also. We also tell students to start local, because you can get to several schools, here, especially on Long Island, within a short period of time. And then you start visiting those schools, and then you kind of, like you guys were both saying, narrowing it down to the schools that you really like. And then, the application process starts where you physically actually fill out applications in your senior year, the beginning of your senior year. So, like I said, the start is to figure out, based on certain criteria, where you want to go, and then reaching out to those schools and visiting.
I want to take this back a little bit, because I got to take it to Common Core, because I've had, several parents, we've been discussing this.
Common Core is crazy.
Common Core. As you know, a lot of kids, and just discussing this with a friend of mine who's the psychologist, she was saying that a lot of students have been visiting her because they're now stressed over education. And they're stressed over Common Core. I'm just, as a counselor, if you can answer this question, how are a lot of the students that you are dealing with, or just listening to the parents in their stress, are you hearing the same thing?
Not necessarily on the secondary level, but more so with our elementary students. They are really feeling that pressure, because a lot of the exams or the state assessments that our students have to take at the elementary level are Common Core exams. For our secondary level, for our high school students, it's really the 10th grade students, and you guys are 10th grade. So the 10th grade students are really getting hit hard with the Common Core. So we are seeing it a little bit with, with our 10th grade students. But I think a lot of it also has to do with the way it's perceived by the teacher and the students. So a lot of times what we try to have is the teachers, we have to support them also to help them get through to the students, to help them get through the curriculum, because it is a lot more difficult. So the teachers are feeling the pressure, and then what happens is the students feel the pressure also. So we are seeing that. I know with geometry, I think that's a new Common Core exam. You're going to have to take the, the ELA, the English, that's a Common Core exam. So our 10th grade students at this time are really feeling that pressure, because they'll be the first kind of to take these exams.
We were the guinea pigs last year too.
Exactly. So that's why you see, especially in the 10th grade, you do see a lot of the stress there. One of the things that, I'll share with the students is these are the Common Core curriculum is leading to the exam that you have to pass, and you have to pass these exams in order to graduate. So you will graduate, so a lot of the stress can be kind of alleviated, because everybody's in the same boat as you, and they have to pass these exams as well. So I think that kind of relieves some of the stress and the pressure from the teachers as well, because the kids they're going to do fine. It's just that it's a different way for them to learn.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Why did they choose Common Core? Why the sudden change? What was supposed to be the impact of it and the outcome?
Common Core was developed because businesses and industry were saying that our students weren't coming out with the set of skills that they needed to be productive in the workforce. So you'll hear a lot of the college and career ready. So Common Core basically is taking those skills that industry feels that are important and having students actually learn those skills. So it has to do with reading information and analyzing and pulling out data to make an argument. That's a lot of it. So it's a lot of close reading. It's more of the depth of a particular subject as opposed to the breadth of the subject. So it's more concentrated as opposed to learning a lot of things. So I think industry, came to the table and said, these are the skills that we need students to have, and this is why, we've moved this direction with the Common Core.
I'm going to ask you, Shay and Iki, what do you find is your most challenge with Common Core?
It's they expect you to be creative with the way that you solve things, especially in geometry. They want you to they give you 2 + 2 and then ask you to find the area of the world. I don't know. Honestly.
Right, 2 + 2 is supposed to be 4, but there's a whole other way to kind of find it.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's definitely that way.
It's so much harder.
It's more difficult.
And a lot more kids, they fail the Common Core than the integrated.
Yes, you're right, exactly. Yeah, it's difficult. It is more challenging, and it's just a different way of learning. And I think that's kind of the struggle also. So our elementary students, they'll be growing up with this way of learning, and they'll be used to it as they go through. But for our high school students this is new for them. So it's a whole new way of learning, and it's a whole new way for the teachers to actually teach. So it's, it is difficult.
I got you.
And we can't even go home, with the Common Core, we can't go home and ask our parents.
Oh, no.
They can help us because they don't even grow up with it.
Yeah.
So it's harder.
It's so true.
You're saying, Shay, they need to have a parent Common Core?
Yeah, it's difficult.
Wow.
Even at the elementary level, I mean, you have 3rd graders and the parents cannot help them with their homework because it's...
Yeah.
Yes.
I help my little brother with his homework, and they have a new way of adding and subtracting and multiplying, and it's like when I was growing up, I learned apple and apple.
It's very different.
Wow.
So what we've done in the district that I do work at, we have a parent workshop, and those parent workshops we actually teach the parents how to do the math that the students are learning in class, because they come home and nobody can help them. So, and even our high school students that were tutoring our 5th, 6th, 7th grade students, they couldn't help them because of the way that they were being taught. Even our brightest students weren't able to help the elementary students because of the way that they were being taught with the Common Core, because it's just a different way of learning.
Okay. I'm sorry, I always come back to that because when parents talk about it, and you're talking to them, it's like, okay, well, we'll go investigate it, and we'll talk with different people just to get an idea of, to help them pinpoint how can they help their child, instead of going to the psychologist or the therapist because this is stressing them out.
Right.
And one of my friends, her daughter's breaking out because she's so stressed about it,
Right.
Stressed because she was an honor student. So now she's just so stressed about going to school, it's like she doesn't want to go to school anymore.
Right.
So it's just interesting, the Common Core, the way of learning. And I went to that to say, even with the PSATs, because we talked about this before.
Right.
And you took the PSATs already, correct?
No.
You take it this year?
Most people did, but I didn't.
Students can take it in 10th grade and they can take it in 11th grade as
11th
well.
grade.
Yeah.
Most students should take it in 11th grade. So next year.
Is it this year that they started the new Common Core PSAT?
Well,
Is it next year?
Again, for our 10th grade
Grade
students, they will be taking the newly redesigned SAT next year. Not next, 2016. So March of 2016 will be the first administration of the redesigned SAT. So as a result, the PSAT that you guys will take in October in the fall
Gonna change too.
will be the redesigned PSAT. So it will be to get you ready for the new SAT that you'll take in 2016, and that is, yes, Common Core aligned.
Do you think that it's because of the fact that we're the last batch of 90s babies? Like, we're the class of, like, we were born 1999, and I guess they're trying to start, like, a new
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. That's a good thought. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know why it started, like, with your, with your grade level. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was just listening to something you said because as I was reading a report with the businesses, and they were talking about people in the workforce now, and they were talking about their cognitive skills,
Right.
Functionality skills, and some other skills, and bringing it all back to home. And you think about other countries like China, even Finland, I believe, they're already teaching in Common Core. I guess the United States was just a little bit behind, and we're
Right.
just now catching up.
Yeah, there's some validity to that. Yes, I would say that we're, I have my own ideas about that.
It's just interesting when you think about it,
right?
You know, with China, because they learn algebra, I guess,
Right.
in kindergarten, and when they get to 7th grade, they're doing chemistry and
Right.
everything else.
But the thing that I always say, because we're always compared to other countries.
Yes.
In the United States, we educate all of our students.
Yes.
And we have to make sure that all of our students, meet that level. And other countries, it might not be necessarily the same. So we're responsible for all of our students and teaching them. In other countries, they might, students don't necessarily have to be educated the same way. So that's what I like to, kind of say when, we're compared to other countries.
I got you.
Yeah.
I just want to ask this question, not to put you on the spot, but parents who have kids in special education, special needs, IEP, how are they adapting to? I don't mean to talk about the Common Core, but just in case there's a parent out there that's asking,
Sure.
how are they comparing? How's everything being adjusted with them as far as Common Core?
I think it's the same, they're feeling that same stressor and even double, more than a student who's not in special education. So it's the same pressures. The accommodations for our special education students are the same as they've always been, whether it be extra time or test read or things like that. So there's not really an adjustment because of the Common Core. So the stressor on those students, because it's heavy, a lot of reading is involved with the Common Core. It's even more so for our students who struggle, who have learning disabilities. So it's very difficult for them, and it is a challenge.
It is a challenge.
It is, yeah.
I think last year was the first year they really introduced it, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
to the ninth graders.
Right.
Like when we were in ninth grade.
Right.
Okay, get off the Common Core. But I was just something that I think about, because I think about them, and then I think about the conversation that I was having with some parents, because I was telling them we were going to be talking about the college application process.
Right.
The mother was so stressed because she was like, I don't even know if my child's going to go to college now, because with all the changes. So when they get to college, though, they will be able to adapt, because this is what college life is.
Right.
What they're teaching is really adapting to college life. When you go to college and you got to read a chapter in 2 days, you got to read like 3 chapters, maybe 300, maybe 500 pages in 3 days, or a day for that matter. And then you have to do, a
true.
10-page paper in 3 days. So, I mean, this is nothing. I mean, the challenge when you get to college is really because your parents are paying for it. Then you'll have no excuse. But you have to answer to your parents because they're footing the bill. So it's a lot to take in, especially when you're I don't mean to scare you, but that's the reality of going to college and being prepared for it. So do any of you have any questions before we move on?
I just feel like they just like threw it on us, like out of nowhere. Like going from 8th grade to 9th grade, we didn't know that they they were going to start teaching us differently and everything. And then out of nowhere, oh yeah, you have to learn this now. And I know they're preparing us for college, but you couldn't give us a warning or something.
Little heads up.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. Please join us talking about the college process with Ms. Verdel Jones. We'll be right back after this commercial.
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is me, PMC, in the place to be, the greatest MC in history. There will never be an MC greater than me. And right about now, the only place for you to be is with the one and only Madhouse TV. You are the man.
Welcome back. We're talking today with Ms. Verdel Jones about the college application process. If you have any questions that you would like any panel, our guest, Ms. Verdel Jones, or our guest panelists, you can tweet us at CJ at AAU TV Radio. Excuse me. That's CJ at AAU TV Radio. So we're going to carry on our conversation talking about the college application process. And we were just finishing up on the Common Core. And we're going to go on and move on to kind of understanding. We're going to go to question 3.
Okay.
Question 3. Go ahead.
What is the average GPA you need to get into college? Like, I know, and what is the highest that you can get?
When you're talking about GPA, it varies from college to college. So different colleges are going to want different GPAs. So depending on where you want to go, depends on, what GPA you need to have to get into that particular school. So I would say, there's open enrollment schools. Open enrollment schools are schools that will accept you, and it doesn't matter what your GPA might be, just as long as you have your high school diploma or your GED. I don't think it's called the GED anymore. It's called something else, but I think it's called a TASC. I think it's called a TASC, I believe. But so it depends on what school you would like to go to determines on what your GPA should be. So one of the things that you can do if you want to figure out what a college or what GPA a college wants is you can go to a college's website and you can actually look at the college profile. Every school comes out with a profile, and that profile is what students were accepted the previous year. So it lets you know what GPA they have, it lets you know what type of SAT score they may have or ACT score. It also lets you know like the breakdown, how many males, how many females. It may tell you the diversity of the school, like how many, what was the percentage of a particular group, what was accepted to the school. So that's really the best way to find out what the GPA is you need to get into a school.
When should they really start being concerned with their GPA?
Students should be concerned about their GPA from day one. So I know in 8th grade, sometimes in 8th grade, students take accelerated high school courses.
Yeah, like French and language and stuff like that.
Exactly. So those classes or those grades, final grades, are on your transcript. So really from 8th grade, if you're taking accelerated courses, it's important to have good grades on your transcript. So from 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, you want to make sure that your grades are up to standards. And then I was talking a little bit about 12th grade and how important those classes are as well. A lot of schools will want your mid-year grades in your 12th grade year. So you even want those grades to be good as well. So your GPA, you always want to be concerned with your GPA starting, as early as the 8th grade if you're taking accelerated courses.
I didn't know that. I always thought the blueprint started at 9th grade.
Yeah, that's what everybody told us.
Yeah, I did. I would always tell the girls to really start being concerned in 9th grade. That's when they started the Saturday school at Brentwood Center.
Okay.
We gave free tutoring, math, science, English, history, and Spanish, I believe. And I would always tell the kids, no matter what your GPA is, there's always room for improvement, especially with writing. A lot of our kids fall short in writing, as you and I had this conversation, because a lot of the papers I get, they're texting me instead of writing a complete paragraph or a complete story, TDD, LY, LOL, and TTYL, and I'm like...
punctuation.
I want you to stress to them how important it is to write. Please, Verdel. Please.
I'm gonna answer to. I just want to go back to the transcript for 1 second. With the transcript, I said it starts in the 8th grade, but colleges also like to see growth. So, say for example, in 8th grade or 9th grade, you didn't do as well as you wanted to do, but in your 10th grade year and your 11th grade year, you stepped it up. You're a more serious student. Colleges will take a look at that. They'll see the trend. They'll see that there's an upward trend. They'll also see if there's a downward trend. So you want to make sure that you have an upward trend. So they will look at that. Not to discount, if you did bad in 8th and 9th grade, that there's no way you're getting into college. That's not true. Okay? So you need to...
You just have to put that extra in.
Exactly. You have to put that extra in. So let's go back to writing. Writing is so important. That's part of the Common Core, if we want to go back to the Common Core. Sorry. That is part of it. One of the things that you have to do when you apply to colleges, a lot of schools want an essay. And the essay has to be, written well, no mistakes, punctuation has to be correct, has to be proper English. So you want to make sure that you acquire that skill. And anytime you write, if it's an email, and I know students really don't write too many emails, but you want to make sure that you get into the habit of writing proper. Now, I'm not saying when you send a text message to your friend, it has to be proper sentences, but when you're, when you're sending an email, if you have to send an email, and you will send emails to college admissions reps possibly, you want to make sure that it's in, punctuation, capitalization, and that you check and you proofread and you look for grammar, because those things are very important. And that's just the way you present yourself. You want to present yourself in the best way, and writing properly is a great way to present yourself.
Got that?
Yes.
Write complete sentences. So when you're texting me now, we're going to write complete sentences. Miss J,
I always do. I always worry.
No, but that's one thing that, I try to stress to, all my young people, to encourage them, especially when you go fill out an application.
Yes.
Do not write in shorthand, because they will throw that application in the trash can after you leave, before you probably leave out the door. They will throw it in the trash can. They will discard it.
Just one more thing in reference to the writing. And I'd made a joke that students usually don't write emails a lot, but you might write emails to, a college admissions rep. And that's one of the things that I think students kind of don't take into account. The individuals that you're probably communicating with are not your peers. So in other words, they're not, teenagers. They're more so maybe 30 plus. They're old. So you want to make sure. So we're older individuals, mature individuals are used to doing things a certain way, and we expect things a certain way. So you have to kind of realize that when you present yourself, that it's to an older person. So you have to take that into consideration.
I just want to say one thing. The regents. When they're taking the regents, realize too, punctuation, how you write, that adds more points to the grades too, correct?
Well, it depends on what, for the English regents, I'm not 100% sure. But for the other ones, punctuation, it's not really, not now.
Okay.
As we get more and more into the Common Core, that will be taken into consideration. As a matter of fact, we're having debates within our district in reference to scoring students for a math problem. So do teachers take off because the student didn't write in proper sentences? Because we want to across... Go ahead.
Because our teacher, she teaches us how to make our way around that, because she knows that we suck at spelling. Everyone sucks at spelling. And we shorten things, and we use symbols and stuff like that to make it easier on ourselves.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but
so that's a debate, because we want to have writing across all of our curriculums. So we have to be consistent. So the science teacher will take off points for punctuation and spelling, just like the English teacher will. So those are kind of, debates that we're having, and as we get closer and closer to the Common Core exams, that'll be definitely the case. Another thing I wanted to say about the writing is on the SAT and on the ACT, there are writing sections for both of those. So that's another important thing that you have to keep in mind as well, because that will be tested on the SAT and ACT.
Do they have a new book out already to practice for the SAT, the new SAT that's coming?
Not yet, but they do have, and I'm not sure exactly in the timeline, but I believe in March, Khan Academy, and I think I shared this with you before, khanacademy.org, they will be having a lot of preparation for the new PSAT and the new SAT as well. So they really, you can actually go on to College Board, which is the company that gives the SAT and PSAT, and they have sample questions and things like that you can take a look at. So they have preparation materials, but not a new book as of yet.
And what about the regents? Do they have a practice for them as well?
Sure, yeah, the Barron's books. I know you guys probably are familiar with those. So you can get the Barron's books. There's also, I think it's regentsprep.org is another site that you can go to get practice on the Regents exams. Regentsprep.org.
Okay. And while you were talking about writing, as you know, you and I talked about the resume, and I think it's good that you start your resumes. I know we've been talking about it. We just got to meet to start it.
Right.
But in doing your resume, it is important to do a cover letter. Even though you haven't had a job or you're looking for a job, you should also write your volunteer experience. Whatever you were given a job task to do, if it's to lead something, do something, cheerleading, ROTC, whatever, a science project, you toot your own horn, because that's leadership.
Right.
So you do need to start to write your resumes and your cover letters.
Right. In your resume, you want to make sure that you have from, what you did in 9th grade up until, up until currently. And you can always reinvent your resume and revamp it and add to it, but you just want to make sure that you don't forget all of the things that you've done. I mean, you young ladies are here, working on the, with Miss Shabana on the program. That is a great thing to put on your resume. That's like, I mean, it's awesome. A lot of times students don't do things that are outside of the box. They just stay inside of the box. They'll do things that are just in school, but showing, leadership in this way and presenting yourself in this way is just, it's outstanding. Very proud of you. It's very nice to see.
Thank you.
When is it a good time also to start the FAFSA for those that are going to college this year? When is it a good time to start FAFSA?
The FAFSA should be filled out after January 1st. So like right now, even if you don't have your tax returns done, you could still fill out that FAFSA. And then update it once you fill out your tax returns. But that's something that you should do right away. There's no reason to not fill that out as soon as you can. And that's for students who are going to college in the fall.
September.
Right.
Most students, some of the students that I have talked to, they're like, where do I start? Do I go to a community college or do I go directly to a college? How would you... when a parent comes in to ask you that question, what would your advice be to them?
I think it's an individual basis. It depends on the student. Some students can show you where they should be going. For example, if you have a student who is not as a serious student, you might want them to stay home. You might want them to prove themselves academically before they go away. So I would say that it's, an individual basis. So that's one reason. Another reason could be because of finances. Community colleges are a lot more affordable than your four-year schools. So you might want to start with that first and then go to a four-year school. And then another issue could be maturity level. So you have to know, your child and what they can actually handle. So I would say it's really individual, but it's based on a couple of things.
We are talking with Ms. Verdel Jones, talking about the college application process. We are going to a commercial and we'll be right back to All About Us Teen Talk TV.
Let our creativity work for you. We design business cards, brochures, annual reports, newsletters and magazines, menus and programs, flyers and mailers, signs and posters and more. We also do voiceovers. First impressions matter. Make yours count with an expressive voice artist. Distinctive, warm, soothing, natural delivery that can add believability and appeal to any audio project. Contact us to discuss how we can make your project a success. Sierra Graphics. That's info@sierragraphics.com.
Guys, ready for the show? Yeah. Enjoy it. Thank you.
Welcome back to All About Us Teen Talk TV. We're speaking with Ms. Verdel Jones about the college application process. Shay, you have a question.
Okay, I had a question because we were talking about community college and everything. So Barack Obama was trying to pass the whole law, whatever it's called, and he was saying how he wanted to make community college free. But how would that help a lot of people? Because community college is like for everybody or whatever, but most like the really smart kids with the high GPAs, they're gonna go there, and then it's gonna leave, and then they're gonna raise the GPA or something.
Well, community colleges are like I was saying before, open enrollment, so they will accept as many students really as they can handle. The thing is, at a community college, there might be certain programs that a student can't get into because of maybe a certain GPA, or they don't have the prerequisites from high school that they need to get into a certain program, or there's a limited amount of spots. So those programs students might, still be, and they are now, but they might be squeezed out of. But if you want to get a liberal arts degree, you will be able to go to a community college. You won't be squeezed out of the community college. And I think the incentive for the 2-year, community college for free will help a lot of people that didn't think that they could go because of finances. So I think the financial end of it will be helpful for people.
But wouldn't that raise the taxes because it's free? So how would they be paying for like the electricity, the teachers, and everything? Wouldn't that come out of like the taxes and everything?
From what I understand, it's government. The government is supposed to contribute. The federal government is supposed to contribute a certain amount, and then the state government is also supposed to contribute a certain amount to make it free. So will our taxes go up? Probably, but that's the program that they have in place, the program that the president is trying to get through. So yeah, it could. I'm sure it will have some impact, but it is a federal and a state partnership that I think is being proposed.
Well, I was asking the same question as her because I was thinking about older adults who want to return to school. How is that going to affect them? Because they already have certain programs in place that they are now paying for them to return to school. But neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I mean, why not open it up to those less fortunate who can't go to school? That can't afford to go to Columbia College or those particular colleges. But I've noticed that I get things from different colleges now, HBCUs. If you have a certain GPA, they're offering a free ride.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people are aware of that.
Yeah, a lot of what you've seen now, a lot of colleges, some of the Ivies and even the upper tier schools have moved toward no loan for students. So if your parents make a certain amount of income, you can go to school for free. The idea is that you have to be able to get into that particular school. So there are several schools that will give students a free ride if they make a certain amount, and it could be upwards of $60,000 to $100,000. And I think it goes on a sliding scale after that. But they're called no loan, like a no loan type of scholarship kind of thing.
I see South Carolina State is going to be closing their doors. South Carolina, I think University, HBCU. It's in South Carolina. They're going to be closing after this year or next year, I believe.
A lot of, I think, HBCUs have been hit hard with one of the things that the HBCUs have been experiencing is parents not being able to get Parent Plus loans. Parent Plus loan is a loan that parents can get to kind of fill the gap. So students can take out a loan up to $5,000, I think, in their freshman year, and then it increases every single year. And $5,000 is not enough to pay for room and board and tuition. So a lot of times if parents don't have the cash or students don't have the cash, they would take out what's called a Parent Plus loan. So what was happening with the Parent Plus loans is parents weren't getting them because of the credit, because of the housing crisis and all of that, and foreclosures, and parents weren't able to get these Parent Plus loans, and that really kind of hit the HBCUs hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I was kind of upset about South Carolina because they offer a lot at that school. But neither here nor there. Does anyone else have a question?
I mean, how do you think that it would like affect if you like start off at a college, and is it hard to like transfer credits from one college to another?
That's a good question. It really depends. You know, what we had the question in reference to the community colleges. If a student wants to go to a community college and then they want to transfer into another school, one of the things that you want to make sure is that the school that you want to transfer into will take the credits that you actually took at the community college. From a personal experience, I went to a 2-year school when I first graduated from high school, and I then moved to Massachusetts, and I went to school here on Long Island, went to Farmingdale. At that time, SUNY Farmingdale was a 2-year school, and after I moved to Massachusetts, and I was going to the University of Massachusetts at Boston. They did not take 30 of my credits, and I had graduated already from Farmingdale with a 2-year degree, but they didn't take 30 of my credits. So I was at a disadvantage of a whole year of schooling. So note to self, I should have, but I didn't. But what you need to do is make sure that community college credits will transfer to the school that you want to go to, because you don't want to waste all of that time, money, and and effort that you put into it. So it just depends on where you see yourself going after the 2 years.
I gave them an assignment. I told them each to look up whatever they wanted to major in, to look at the curriculum.
Nice.
So as you're looking at the curriculum and you're going to go to, say, Suffolk Community, make sure you look at the curriculum of your college and compare that curriculum to Suffolk Community, and also talk to someone in admissions to see, if I take these classes, will you accept these classes, these credits, if I enroll in your college? So that was one of the assignments I had given them. Well, that's right. They're looking at me like, when did you do that, Miss Johnson? YRAP, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
That was the first initial thing, and I had them go to the library and research it. And they're like, why am I looking at this? But that was one of the things. It's so important, so that when you do decide if you're going to go to a Suffolk Community and transfer your credits over to York, you'll have that. You're ready, and you'll have spoken to someone in admissions to see if they will, accept those credits.
Why is it that certain schools don't accept certain credits?
In my particular experience, I was majoring in business. I majored in business at Farmingdale, and I wanted to major in business at UMass as well. So UMass, since it was a 4-year school, said that since I took some business courses at Farmingdale, they weren't at the right level. So in other words, they wanted me to take those upper level business courses at their school as opposed to at the 2-year school that I was going to. So they didn't accept it because it just says, just as you said, it did not fit into their curriculum. It wasn't what they wanted, and I didn't do my research, so they didn't accept the credit. So it just depends. You have to make sure that what you're taking matches where you want to go. So a liberal arts degree might be the best option for you to take to transfer into a 4-year school after that.
Get out all your basic needs.
Right, exactly.
Needs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Verdel, it was good having you. We want to invite you to come back because so much information is shared, but so much more. If you could leave information how people can contact you or follow you on your blog.
Sure.
Just look into your camera right here.
Okay.
And just leave your information for us.
Sure. You can follow me at DeliTeach. That's at DELITEACH, or you can look at my website, which is deliteach.com. A lot of information about the college application process, a lot of resources about the ACTs, the SATs, college information guide is also on there, and you can also email me at Verdel, VERDEL, Jones @gmail.com.
We want to thank you for watching All About Us Teen Talk TV. We will be back next week with the Life Transformers. So please join us. We're going to be talking about your metabolism. What's slowing it down, what's missing, and we're going to be talking about all that good stuff. So we want to thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next week.